Hi, I'm Mark May. John Wooden said, a player that makes a team great is more valuable than a great player. We're about to find out a man who's dedicated his life to making Shriners International and Shriners Children great teams. Sir Kenny Craven. Kenny, what was your childhood like?
Mark, I had a great childhood growing up in a small town, small neighborhood. My parents pretty much opened the doors for everyone in the family and the neighbors to come by. Back growing up, you didn't lock your doors, right? Mom and Dad leave the windows open sometimes. And it was just for everybody just comfortably growing up, playing different people in our neighborhood. It was awesome. Yeah, Mom and Dad, was great parents. I lost my dad last year. My dad was in politics, actually. My dad was town council, and I kind of wanted to do something on my own. I always was fascinated with Shriners, and that's how I got involved with that. But Mom and Dad were just very supportive growing up as a kid. I have a brother and a sister.
As a little girl, you always think that you're gonna have a role model or a celebrity that you're gonna look up to, but for me, that wasn't me. There was a simple, small town guy that I had the privilege to call Dad. He may think that he's just a small town, but to me, he was everything. He was the world.
Along came a beautiful Southern lady named Jennifer, or JJ. How did you two meet?
Through a car deal, actually. Her family are in the logging business, and her dad had called the dealership asking to buy a service body truck. And I found out they were from Somerville, and I told the sales staff that there was a phone call that come in from Somerville. I wanted to answer it. I wanted to be able to take care of that customer myself. And they told me who it was, and I knew of the family, and I said, I'll make sure I go and talk to them and personally handle this deal myself. And then once I got there, you start looking around the room and you see all these pictures of the family, and I said, who is this? Kind of deal to myself, but I didn't say that. Her mom actually tried to call her and tell her to come over, because her dad was buying this truck and wanted her to come by and meet the salespeople. And she said, I'm not going over there. I'm not going to meet this salesman. So we left, and it was a disaster deal, right? Because the truck, we ordered it, it never would come in. And it was on back order. So it gave me a long time to stay in contact with them, making phone calls. And then finally I had a chance to meet her at that time. And we've been together ever since.
So you closed the deal?
I closed the deal, 2 deals.
2 deals.
At the age, I would say about 12, my dad introduced me to a lady named Jennifer. She was so sweet to me, very kind, loving, and she was so beautiful. JJ later then became my stepmom. We don't like to use the word step, because she's a true blessing in our lives.
From a small town called Somerville, South Carolina, it's as American as sweet tea. In fact, that is the birthplace of sweet tea. What's so special about Somerville?
Somerville was just a small town, and I remember the first Hardee's that was built in Somerville. And I watched it grow from a small town to nearly 50,000 people. But you knew everybody, and it was just a great childhood growing up in Somerville.
Everything that I know that Kenny's tried to do for the town and our community, the town of Somerville, Dorchester County, he's accomplished. He's got that kind of personality. He doesn't push himself on anybody. He's an asking guy, and I guess I don't know, because we've never said no to him in town, and I don't know what the county does, but I don't think they say no either. But if they did, I don't think he'd give up.
Somerville is special to both of us because our family, our friends are there. We went to school there, worked there. and it's just a beautiful place, beautiful trees and flowers and historic homes and buildings. It's just very special. Stacy and Stephen gave Kenny and I our first grandbaby, and her name is Ella Grace, and she is our world. She has brought a joy into our lives that I didn't even know was missing. And seeing Kenny with her just warms my heart so much. You know, we love Stacy to death, but it's a different kind of love with Ella.
You know, it's tough when you're gone all the time and you miss that family growing up. And even with Stacy, when she was little, I was working, you know, in the car business. You can imagine the amount of time we spent and didn't have the chance to spend a lot of the family time with her. And now here comes Ella, and I'm trying to say, okay, how can I spend more time with her too at the same time? And now I'm in the same position. I'm traveling, I'm gone. And so I try to make a point to have a day set aside just so I can spend with them.
You mentioned the Low Country. What's it like living in the Low Country?
Well, the Low Country is water, right? You have rivers, you have beaches. And so it was very easy to hook to a boat and go put the boat in and do some water skiing and hydro sliding and all that kind of good stuff. And then head on to the beach. And so it was fun living on the water.
You're a self-made man, as many of us are. You work hard to build a successful career in sales and marketing. How did all of that start, and where did that lead you?
You know, it started out, my first job in high school at Coca-Cola in sales. You know, it had to be driving and selling Coca-Cola. But it led from that to just marketing and branding and selling. It was just part of life.
We got in the car business in 1995, I think it was. And he's always been in sales. And as soon as this opportunity came along, you give up all that and says, yeah, let's go and let's sell some cars.
Kenny he has an aura about him that he's very likable. People like him. They want to follow him. They want to work with him. And it's kind of like he's a natural. You know, people they kind of fall in love with him. He's just a sweet guy. He's kind of quiet, but when he needs to, he can be firm and be fair. And he's pretty much, as I call people like him, they're get-it-doners, and that's Kenny.
Sometimes it's hard to work with family, and then sometimes there's a lot of enjoyment. He was on the phone one day with a customer. So I go up there and goose him, and he yells loud like, you know, I'd done shot him. And the customer says, what's wrong? What happened? The customer panicked on the other line. And we started laughing so bad we couldn't handle the deal, so we had to tell the guy we'd call him back.
You're about to become the #1 Shriner in the world. But I bet it was a long road to get here. Tell us about your beginning as a young Mason and Shriner.
You know, growing up as a kid, you go to parades, and you would always see the Shriners in parades. And I was always fascinated with these little cars, driving them. And I said, you know what, one day I want to do that. I want to own my own little car. I was always around it. Something brought me back to it. And so after school, I wanted to pursue something, right, to be involved with something else. And Shriners was that niche that I liked. And so I actually asked someone to join, and they said, how old are you? And at the time I was 18 years old or so, and they said, well, you have to be 21 to join. And sure enough, I turned my petition in on my birthday, and so I joined.
I met him when we were old enough to know what a friend was. We grew up next to each other. You know, we played with matchbox cars in the backyard. We went through masonry basically together. He was raised in September of 1987. I was raised in January of '88. We later went through Scottish Rite, joined the Shrine in May of 1988. So he and I have been friends our entire life, and we've been Shriners now for 35 years.
What motivated you to run for leadership at the local temple, Omar Shriners?
Well, you have clubs and units that's involved, and so I got real active in my first unit to drive my little cars. I became the director of that unit, and then it was something else after that. Then it was a shrine club. You know, how can you be involved with the club? And I did that too. Just got involved and got on the board, and then it was something else. It was always another. That's one thing about the shrine. there's always something for you to do, and they will find something for you to do too. So then I got involved in golf tournaments, and then I was able to create a barbecue competition that went on to be one of the largest fundraisers in the temple. And then everybody starts approaching you, saying, well, what you gonna do next? Are you gonna run? What's your plans? And so then I decided, okay, it's time to run to be potentate of Omar Temple.
Kenny's one of those people, he'll set a goal for fundraising, and I think in all my time in the Shrine, I don't believe we've ever been in any better shape than we were with Kenny at the helm. He's always been well received and been able to raise the money when necessary.
Something about Kenny and my father both that I think I see similarities between myself and them is the drive to succeed. Find something you're passionate about, work harder than anybody else at it, and be the best you can be.
When Kenny was potentate of Omar Shriners in 2012, Kenny nearly died. Kenny had a condition called Guillain-Barré and was in the hospital for over 30 days.
Just one particular morning, he started having trouble talking. He was having some trouble with his face, kind of sagging a little bit on one side, and it just escalated from there. He continued to decline that same day until the point that he had to go into intensive care. He was losing motion. He was becoming paralyzed from the head down.
A decade or so ago, you went through a serious health scare, and you fought back from that. How does that relate to the children of Shriners Hospital for you personally?
Yeah, it's just, you never give up, right? It's just, there's times when you're gonna get kicked and you're gonna be put down and you feel like the world's collapsing on you. And you have to just stay focused on where you wanna go. We need to encourage patients that it's more about what's happening right now in your life, because it can always be better. And just never give up.
Kenny said the thing that kept him going was he had things to do. He knew he had things to do. Now Kenny's a devoted family man, now a grandfather, but the thing Kenny went back to, the quickest, he was back to the temple within 30 days.
For Shriners children, I think most people, when they see the commercials, that they want to get involved. What does that mean to you?
That's the ultimate answer of what Shriners and Masons is all about for me. You look at it and say, yeah, we can have fun. We can drive our little cars. We can hang out and with everyone. But at the end of the day, it's about the philanthropy, right? It's what we're here for. And how can we make that change? And how can we make a life better for some kid that needs our support?
We did not have a pediatric burn unit. And of course, as we all know, that's one of the things that Shriners are famous for. They're burn hospitals and pediatric orthopedic hospitals. So that led to a discussion of how do we affiliate, partner with Shriners about a children's burn unit at our new MUSC Sean Jenkins Children's Hospital. So Kenny is a master negotiator. He's quiet, but when he has something to say, everybody listens to him. I think without Kenny, there would not have been the inertia on either side of this. It always takes a champion for something of this magnitude to occur. Shriners is a big organization. Medical University is also a very big organization. For something that's this integral, if you don't have a champion pushing that along, it just doesn't happen.
Kenny has been my window into Shriners, and what a window he presents. Incredibly impressive in his dedication to the mission of Shriners. He's been a great history teacher. I love history, and I've enjoyed understanding how Shriners has changed and developed and the origins, and how it's held true to its mission. And I think it made it real easy for me to see how clearly we were aligned.
What were some of the lessons that you learned by being in the position of leadership of Shriners International?
Patience.
Patience.
You have to have patience. You know, you're working with a board of directors with different personalities, leadership teams, and you have to have patience with that. Sometimes when you own your own business, you can make decisions on your own, right? And working with a board, you have to, you know, understand how everybody looks at things. And for Shriners, we investigate and we make sure it's the right deal for you. And I appreciate that about the board.
Kenny is one that thinks about other people more so than himself. He's got a good family, he's taking care of the family, but he has a shrine system has been his heart and soul for a long time.
We of Omar are very proud of Kenny. He is going to be the first imperial potentate from South Carolina ever in the 150-year history of Shrinedom.
Kenny's prepared. I can tell you that right now. In fact, before he ever came potentate of our temple, he knew what he was going to do the day he ran for Oriental Guide. I think the same thing with the imperial line. He's taken every responsibility they've given to him up the 10-year ladder. He's done a great job on that. He always has a plan.
That he's open, you know, that he's not, you know, one of these guys, or, you know, that they get to a certain position, it kind of, you know, goes to their head, but I'd say he's still one of us.
The fraternity means a lot because just the fellowship of men pulling together for one cause. It's just no matter where you go, the fraternities always will be there for you. That's what I like about the brotherhood of Masonry, what pulls everybody together, and the fraternity of Shriners.
We share the same passion for the kids. And we've had a lot of great times together, and we're looking for more great times together. And it is an honor to call him my friend and my imperial potentate.